Bleach Retouch, take one. Hello, I'm Joseph.
I'm Brandy.
And today we're going to talk to you about the Bleach Retouch. Now, bleach is trickier than color. Bleach is easier than color in my opinion because you can actually see the physical workings of it. Like you can see how the hair is physically lifting from one shade to another. You can actually see the hair swell. So it's easier in my opinion to control because it's more visual than color, which kind of just looks like dark, and then you rinse it out and you blow dry it and then you can see your final result. But with bleach, we have to be careful. This is what I tell my students. Color is super absorbent. If I were to drop color on my shirt right now over this pocket, what would happen if I left it here all day is eventually it would absorb through that pocket, and it would absorb through that second layer, and I would get a stain on my chest from that color. Now, if I spilled bleach on my shirt, what would happen is I would get this huge bleach stain, but it would not go all the way through my shirt because my shirt is pretty thick. So bleach will only bleach what it touches. What that means is when I put color on the hair, it will absorb through all those hair fibers and come out on the other side. So that's why we're able to take 1/4 subsections, because it's thick enough for it to absorb all the way through and you're gonna be okay. But with bleach, 1/4 is still too thick. So what would happen is I would put my bleach here and put my bleach here, but this middle section right here might be orange, gold, red, because the bleach isn't absorbing all the way through to the other side. It's not penetrating that whole hair shaft. So we have to make sure that our sections are paper thin, like 1/8 of an inch. And I show you in the video how big 1/8 is. If you take any bigger than that, that's how you get those crappy blondes that walk around with orange or yellow spots in their hair, or it's mistoned. It's because whoever the stylist was taking huge subsections and not thin ones. If you want them to be nice, blonde, icy, beautiful, you're gonna take tiny paper thin subsections. That's the key thing to remember. And with the retouch, we want to make sure only to do the roots. So we're going to pretend this is like my hair has grown, and now I need to retouch my roots. The things that I need to remember in a bleach retouch is I cannot overlap. What that means is I cannot apply it from root to end, because all this part that you see right here that's nice and blonde will not be there at the end of that bleach retouch. It will fry off. It will be over processed. So we can't make sure to overlap. We can only do our roots. So do not pull it through. Do not try to double bleach, because your client will be snatched bald-headed. Cool? Other than that, in the tutorial, I will show you everything that you need to do, how to indent, how to do everything like that. So just stay tuned. Anything else they should know about the bleach retouch?
No, just be super careful. Nice, clean subsections. Like we say this to you all the time in class. You know, I know we're reiterating, but you know, it's very important.
Yes. Cool. Bleach retouches are the potential to make a lot of money. They're super fun, super easy. I love blondes. So I think it's fun to do, but it can be tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So the key, like we keep on saying, is small subsections and even saturation, and you'll be fine. Cool? So have fun retouching. All right, guys, it's me again. What we're gonna do now is a bleach retouch. So it's very similar to the color retouch, except it's bleach. So what we need to keep in mind with bleach is that it only colors what it touches. So we have to make sure our subsections are really paper thin. We're gonna use 1/8 subsections. So 1/8, using our comb again, is probably, excuse me, the size of that big tooth right there. So they're really, really tiny. The reason why, like I said before, is it only colors what it touches. So if our subsections are way too thick, it's only going to color that side. Even if you do the other side, it's only going to color that side. But all this hair in the middle is going to be discolored, like that orange or that bronze color, what I call Tejano blonde, things like that. So the thinner, the better. So don't get lazy with it and start doing huge subsections. They are timely. They do take a little longer, but if you notice, a color retouch will start around 45, but a bleach retouch usually starts around 65 or 75, because you are getting paid for your time. It's still really easy. So we're gonna demo it now. So first thing first, I'm the realist, and then you need to put on your gloves. All right, after we put on our gloves, we're gonna do our trusty protective cream. Protective cream is very vital with the Bleach Retouch. So again, I'm just using my petroleum jelly as my protective cream. I'm gonna place it all along the hairline, even on top of the ear, especially with bleach. The reason why is bleach will burn, especially if you're using a high volume bleach, like a 30 or a 40. So you don't want to burn your client. So my skin in particular is very sensitive with bleach. So protective cream is like key. It's going to make it hurt less, burn less, anything like that. You should already know this by now, but I'm just going to say it again. You want to make sure not to brush the scalp. You don't want to use any teeth of the combs on the scalp, anything like that. You don't want to scrape it with your rat tail, cutting your subsections, anything like that. These clips, you don't want to scrape against them because you don't want to cause any kind of irritation to the scalp, because once the bleach goes on it, it's gonna burn because you irritated the scalp. So be very, very gentle. All right, so we're gonna start in the back. Same like the color Retouch. I'm going to trace all the perimeter. You want to make sure you get it really good, especially if you're doing somebody with really, really dark hair like this mannequin. Because if you have any dry spots or you don't saturate it enough, it's not going to turn like the rest of the hair. So that's where you get those discolored hair, like how people get like that weird, awkward blonde where some pieces are gold, some pieces are orange. It's because it wasn't saturated consistently. So consistency is the key. All right, we're going to take our 1/8 subsections, so they're tiny. Just like that, paper thin. And we're going to get our product and put it on the front and put it on the back. Make sure it's real saturated. And then we're going to indent. Again, pulling that comb towards me and the hair away from me, so it gives me a nice indent. And then I repeat the procedure. Paper thin, do the front, the back, and indent. And we're just going to continue this procedure the whole way down. So I'm going to finish this, and you're just going to follow along. All right, so what we did, that took me about 3.5 minutes. So what we're gonna do now is the same thing that we did with our old color Retouch, is we're just gonna go the opposite way. So we're gonna take our subsection again, especially with bleach, we wanna make sure everything's really saturated. And then we're gonna indent the other way by pulling the brush up and the hair down. So we're just going to continue that the whole way up. Make sure that there's no dry spots, anything like that, that our subsections are staying paper thin, that everything is nice and taken care of. You want to make sure on bleach not to overlap. So you want to see where that line of demarcation is. So you never want to pull that bleach on top of the other bleach, because what's going to happen is breakage and fryage. So if I overlap that bleach, I'm gonna stress the other hair out and it's gonna break off or burn off. So I need to make sure that I distinctly just keep it on the roots. A little bit of overlapping is fine. Obviously you can't be a perfectionist. It's not gonna just break off, but it also depends on how fragile the hair is. So a little overlapping is okay because we can't live in a perfect world. A bleach retouch would take us 17 hours to do. So just make sure that you keep it as clean as possible and not to overlap as crazy. Okay, so that's how the first section's done. I'm gonna finish the rest of the head so we can see the finished look.
You said that we were friends. You swore that you would never break my heart. You wasted all my time. You told me lies behind my back. I don't know where I'm at. You said that I was all you'd ever want. You said that we were friends. You swore that you would never break my heart. You wasted all my time. You told me lies behind my back. I don't know where I'm at. You swore that we would never be apart. You only tell lies. Even though you said you wanna go, it's hard to say goodbye. It's over now.
Alright, so we went ahead and stopped it there because you get the point of what a bleach retouch is supposed to look like. The key is small subsections, making sure everything's evenly saturated. I can't stress enough about saturation because if it's not saturated enough, you're gonna have inconsistencies. This was all done. This whole video has been going on with 16 minutes without editing. So I basically already did the whole head. So it shouldn't take you that long either. Practice makes perfect, don't give up, and bleaching can be fun. Avi.